Beautiful ignited souls. It is so important for us to pay attention to our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, and just to really scan ourselves, so to speak, scan our bodies, our minds, our spirit. So I've had this inclination and I have been putting it back because, of course, like on WhatsApp, nearly everything you get on WhatsApp is perhaps about George Floyd or coronavirus or, so much is happening. My focus has been from let us create man in our image after our likeness. We have seen Sophie the robot, how that has shaped in our image and likeness with some robotics. They have taken on this much more serious than perhaps most of us have, and of course they will sell it to us in their own image and likeness, what they have created in their own image and likeness. This is the message that has been given to us in the King James Version of the Holy Bible. Now, there is a lot have been said negatively and positively of King James, which would be interesting to really investigate all the aspects of bringing this book together. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that it is a numerical construct that our world, of course, is being guided or is being operated from that book. A medium of the numerical values or the numerical construct of the universe. So the Bible is a medium that is being written so cleverly, so it has different layers of cakes, of a cake if you like, or different layers of the land if you like, or different layers of a house, of a story, however you want to frame it, but there are different layers. And of course, like some of us, we just eat the crumbs off the table, or we just look at the setting or the servings and we think, okay, that's enough. We do not care to ask, well, what was that recipe made of? Or what was the recipe of that delicious cake that you gave me? What was inside of it? Sometimes it tastes so delicious that if we were to know what it was really made of, we'd probably puke. But many of us just eat and not bother to find out what it is we are eating. This is a spiritual medium, if you like, or a construct, a numerical construct that serves us to finding our spiritual makeup. It is a medium, it is a tool. And so when we look at the story of George Floyd, for instance, who, of course, his numerical value has come on this as George Floyd. I have done this, so I don't want to repeat too much of what I have done in other videos, so I can begin to really show you that everything right now, the second coming. Now, I see the second coming, if you like, is something that happens through my own personal kundalini, and I feel that that is why I am able to really that I am seeing right now. In however it shows in our world, of course, the number 5 on the sacrifice table here, or the sacrifice template, it comes in the middle. It is like the core of the apple. It is like the core of the apple. Cut an apple right now and you'll see this. This is why it is said that Mother Eve had eaten of an apple. No one really tells you why it is said that it was an apple, but of course Eve is the apple. So adding this together gives us 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. Or Eve, or we could say, is the Christ, Christ, of course, equals 32. 3 plus 2 is 5. So anytime we get this 5 here, or like we did Trinity and Neo, for instance, Trinity is 7 and Neo is also 7. 7 plus 7 is 14, and they are doing 5. Now, you may be wondering how I know all this. I believe that I probably did sign up for that. Just like I think that George Floyd had a spiritual contract in serving and being that savior. Now that his words should be lit in 5 cities of the US, because the US is 31, US 31. Of course, 3 plus 1 is 4. And of course, we have 7 people, 7 months of the year, coinciding with 7 months of a year that would have 31. That would come to 31. So if we just say 7 ones are 7, 3 sevens are 21. 2 plus 21. Okay, I don't know, but this gives us 10. Is that correct? I think it's correct. 3 sevens 21. Okay, so 21. 7 1 7. Okay, so this gives us 10, and this coincides perfectly with Mother Eve's first words of Genesis of chapter 1 verse 3, when she says, "Let there be light." The word "let," the very first word "let," which is what George Floyd is more or less saying, "Let there be light." And we have this words, his words, which coincides with the number 41 or 14, which is, "They are going to kill me." Just like Kundalini comes to 41, and this is what we are saying. When you have a Kundalini, it's there is a death. There is a dying that happens there. The word death is 20, and we are in 2020. So I am repeating these messages in different ways, hoping that you get it. We are in 2020. The word 20, TWENTY, is actually 26. 2 plus 6 is 8. So we have another 8. 8 and 8 is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. This is where we are talking about a new people, a new creation, a new 6 days of creation, and the 7th day of rest is happening right here. This is the 7 that we are all creating. Your 7 chakras. Your 7 chakras are being ignited, and you have now become a new person. George, of course, is 7, and Floyd is actually 8. Floyd is 8. Now, but I will do his whole name, his whole numerical value. Another thing that is important for us to note, his date of birth, which is 14. And this is another thing, people, let's wake up. There is so much about this guy. People, it's like, I am now going to say that people had woken up, and a lot of Christians had, particularly in the black communities, had rejected the white Jesus. Now they have come to the black Jesus, which they hadn't seen looked like George Floyd. They would not have wanted to think that it was George Floyd. And God knows why it is said, like, I only learned this from one person, how he went to prison and how many times. I think he went to prison about 4 times or so, which would mean, and I'll have to check again, if it was 4 times or so, that would be a foundation. We see the number 4 is like a foundation here. And of course, it would be interesting to check all the dates and stuff. There is so much information. I don't know how much I'm going to be able, well, I will just give what I'm divinely guided to give. Thanks to High Priest Aaron, who is guiding me now, because High Priest Aaron is 22. And just as we are in the year 2020, 2 plus 2 is 4. This is why this year is setting a foundation like we had never seen or known before. We had never seen or known anything like it before, and we will not see anything or know anything like it again. But what is important for that, we actually grasp. So we are seeing the date of birth, which is the 14th. This is what I have been talking about. Now there's another thing that is just almost amusing. I did a lot of videos on Pope Francis, which is also 14. And there was a lot of correlations, of course. It's almost like Pope Francis did not get to have this event that was meant to be on the 14th of May 2020, which also equal 14, 1 plus 4 would be 5. That did not happen. And it's almost like there was this event being hatched to create a greater phenomena than we've ever known. So it was not happening then. And it was about the global educational system, which also equals 14. There are people behind the scenes working out the numerical values of these words to put them out, and when we use them, we are igniting and reverberating the vibration to making that manifestation come into a reality. And this is why it is important for us to understand the depth and the message or the learnings and lessons that numerology offers. Who sits and do a thing about global educational pact, which still comes to 14, and Pope Francis comes to 14, and the 14th of May 2020 comes to 14, and there was something else as well come to 14. Who does that? But so what is happening now for us to understand, while it is happening with George Floyd, which also has 5, because we are talking about the number 5, this is in 5 cities of the US, which comes to 4, US is 4, 31. When this happens, that we need to program our minds with the right vibrational intent and prayer and affirmation to make this reality what we want to happen, to send out and ignite the right vibration into what we want and not what we don't want, to say, I can't breathe. Breathe is 5. I is 9. Can't is, let's see, I think can is 9. Let's just see this. This is 6, 9, 10, 11. So this is 2. I can't is like a 9, 11. Okay? All right. But let's add this together. This is already 14. This is 14, 15, 16. Now 16, of course, is bringing in new people. But do we want a new people? Do we want a new people who can't breathe? People. Do we want to have this? Now that as well, if we do the numerical value for 7, because we are saying we can't breathe, and this is so important. It almost makes me marvel in a way that we have had the coronavirus. This is what people are not really catching on, where you are masking your face and your nose, which is to do with your breath. This is already happening, where people are saying, oh, I can't breathe with a mask on my face. Yeah. Then they take another incident and speak out the words, of course, because George Floyd perhaps had this, I can't breathe in the subconscious as well. But what is important for us to remember, George Floyd is a representation of the energy. It's like electricity. It's like the sun. It's like whatever it is that you create in your own image after your likeness. It's like an exclamation mark. George Floyd is like an exclamation mark that says, this is it. I am that I am. So I am that I am actually comes to 5. Whatever is in that sun, that breath, that tree, that element, that whatever it is, you put it in there. Just like Christ, Jesus Christ is 7. Jesus and Christ is 7. And whatever you make of that Jesus Christ, that he will be for you, whether you want to contest it or not. But that is the energy right there, because you are in a cycle of 7. And 7, of course, has Mother Eve right in the middle of it. This is what a mother does. The mother, she allows you, because she's the S head, the serpent, she is balanced. With the S at the start, is saying she is balanced in whatever you want. You want good, you want evil, she's there. She wants to make you happy in whatever way you want. But she knows you're going to come around full circle again. You are going to come to the end. N is end. And when we do the numerical value for this is 15455, which is 20. We are in 2020. So there we had a I can't breathe on one end, if you like, comes to 7. Another I can't breathe comes to 7 again. What are we creating? It is almost that we have been given a gift and we are not using it to the full potential that it can be. So I can't breathe comes to 7, of course, and we are in 2020. As I say, 20 of course comes to 8, the word 20, and another 20 comes to 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. We are creating a new people in our image after our likeness. I can't breathe. Why would you already have had one in coronavirus and COVID-19, and now we are taking the same? Judge Floyd, perhaps last words, called on mama. If I'm correct in this, if I'm not, please correct me. So MAMA, which is 4141, just like the opposite again of Adam. ADAM, which is 1414. This is the cycle, people. This is the cycle. It's like we have gone one end, now we are coming back the other end. Mama, this is why my videos have always said Mother Eve calls us home. She's been calling us home. Come home. She wants to teach us of her way so we can learn how to navigate and create man in our own image after our likeness. Because that comes to the 8th cycle of what she's been talking about. Now, just to wrap up on what she's been talking about, this is where, I'm glad I'm able to actually chuckle through her now. Okay, so hey, so this is the letters of the contract of Mother Eve, where Mother Eve says, let there be light, let there be a firmament, let the waters under the waters bring whatever it is, or the waters under the heavens bring rain or whatever. It didn't say rain, but it brought something. Let the earth bring forth grass. Let the light of let there be light in the firmament. Let the waters bring forth abundant creatures, and of course let the earth bring the living creatures again, or some bring forth living creatures, or abundant and living. But they're there. These are the Latins. These are 7 Latins that tells us about the number 7, that tells us about, okay, all this had been formed and there was a new thing happening now. So on the 8th Latin of the contracts, Mother Eve said on the 8th one, she says, let us. This is the US. Let us. Nothing is by chance in this place. Let us make man. Let us make man. So we can see let us make man came to, this is 1, 4. Make is 5, 10, 11, 12. This is 3. And man is 10, 1. So this is 5 plus 3 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. So 9 is the full cycle. We see 9 is the full circle or cycle. Let us make man, because we have to do this whole journey of the sacrifice, which is what George Floyd did right here. Let us make man. George Floyd was not halfway in this right now. He done the full cycle. Let us make man. When he talks, he speaks of breath, and I think, of course, the word to say I can't breathe is understanding. He uttered this. I think it's to really get us to understand. We have the choice to choose what we make of this or how to use these words. Is to say breath is the first thing we are given. It's of life. We are given oxygen, and it's the last thing that goes. It's like saying I'm dying or I'm gonna die. Meaning, of course, where there is now, is he is in a new life. So I'm going to leave this on here. There is just so much people. It almost feels like my whole channel is just going to be on George Floyd. But this is the new creation, and I had not understood that George Floyd would say is the reason savior, is the reason is the Lord that we had been or people are waiting to see in the sky. It is not happening like people thought they would see a white Jesus in the sky. Now we have the words in the sky which people need to really clock, like the young people would say, to really clock that what is, I'm just trying to remember in the last words is they're going to kill me. These are the last words. Now that has a pun to it, but it's so important that every time you read this is like another affirmation. When it is there in 5 cities, this is another affirmation. Every time you read it or you say it, remember what you are programming your mind with. So while we are now celebrating, yes, this is there, 5, the big 5 in the sky, in 5 cities, which I would be interested to know what cities and what they come to as well in numerical values. Yes, they're going to kill me. It comes to 41. To acknowledge that your death, it's like the renewal. You are going through the new renewal like you have gone through a kundalini. The word kundalini equals 41. So people, let us wake up and smell the moringa, because the coffee doesn't do it for us anymore. Ignited souls. Why am I saying all this? It's for us to understand the importance of numerology and how we can use it to... I've just realized that I hadn't even had my spoon. I have just been digging. What's happened? Okay, I've got a knife. We are slicing this. We are now creating a new world. We are now creating a new world. Stay ignited, people. Do join me again, because there is so much to discover through this series. So much more. Thank you. Stay ignited.